A brand new Minecraft update just came out, and if it looks like they fixed the bug with add-ons where you couldn't use add-ons on existing worlds, it's because they did. They didn't reference it anywhere on the changelog though. Despite being in the update, you can't see this mentioned anywhere on the official changes, which means that we have one of the weirdest updates ever because it's a big changelog that doesn't reference one of the major features. Although speaking of major features, there's going to be a big change to Minecraft which won't even have an update coming out very soon. If you want to know what that is, as well as the exciting new world of the hints of 1.22 that they've been making, well, let's go into that in today's Q&A Saturday, because hello, I'm Toycat, and you can subscribe, by the way. I would appreciate it if you did, but let's get straight into Kamite, who says, meanwhile, achievements get disabled if I turn on vibrant visuals. And yes, this is true. A lot of people are confused by vibrant visuals. Is it actually out yet? Even though some people will tell you it is not. You can technically use the experimental toggle, which is the equivalent of going into the beta or preview, or snapshot if you will, and that means that in the exact same way that if you play in a preview or beta, you won't earn achievements. That is how it works with the brand new Vibrant Visuals toggle. You can turn it on just like how you can turn on Happy Ghasts, but neither of those features will be releasing until 1.21.90, also known as the Big Summer Update or the Summer Drop. And speaking of the Summer Drop, it just got its last set of features this week with the new saddle crafting recipe and the music disc, and just a border hopper feels a little weird about that. They say, I'm sad that it's the last feature. I would have loved to have seen more, but hopefully the next drop will contain more features. This is definitely a smaller drop, and I think if we look at the update and measure it by size, then this is pretty disappointing, but I actually do like all of the features in this update, from the new music to the new saddle and lead crafting recipes to the Happy Ghast. I do think it's a very concentrated update, and so that will be the test. Will people like the summer drop as a short but sweet update, or will people want more? Will people be left like you of just a border hopper, saying maybe they'll have more time for the next update? But if I can choose to address that like it's a second question, the truth is no, they've had a full 3 months to develop this. If they need to do 4 drops per year, which is what they're going for, that means a drop every 3 months, and then that means that we've gone 3 months since the Spring to Life drop, and so this is just a smaller one. What happens from here is an interesting question. I think the logical choice would be an autumn drop, but we had the tiniest hint at a 1.22 recently because Mojang uploaded a new video talking about bugs, and inside of it they made lots of interesting references, but the very intro of the video has this.
For over 15 years, Minecraft has evolved through countless rounds of beta testing, updates, and drops.
Okay, literally forever we've been having a debate about whether Mojang considers updates and drops to be different things, and right there they just confirmed yes, updates and drops, and also they showed the version number with a strong emphasis that 1.21 was the last update, and so this hints that yeah, they're not just going to go 1.21.xx forever, and that a 1.22 is coming at some point. When is it coming? Well, that's an interesting question, isn't it? Because if we were still getting an update a year, it would have been literally next month. And so now that the summer drop is feature complete and we see what a year worth of drops look like, how does it compare to a hypothetical 1.22? Or rather, what would happen if all of these content drops didn't come out individually, but were all coming out at the same time? This is an interesting question from KMB that I'll come right back to after I show you some of the other fun things that Minecraft showed off in their Minecraft Bugs Explained, because they did explain how it is that milkable squids happened. This is something I've always wondered, and Jeb actually explained.
So I based the squid on the cow mob, but I forgot to remove the milking behavior. So for a while you could actually milk the squid, which was a bit silly and also not the intended behavior.
He also drops the fun fact that the squid was actually the first mob that he worked on, and I thought that was really interesting, but even more so was this claim that he makes just about a minute later, which when he's talking about bugs and how important it is to remove them from the game.
But we have a thinking that we shouldn't keep bugs even though they are being used by players, because we might introduce even more bugs by just keeping bugs around.
It actually makes a lot of sense, and this is the explanation for why so many cool features have left Minecraft, even though they were fun to use because they were obviously bugs. However, it describes the exact opposite of how Minecraft Java works. There are so many bugs in that version of the game, from the redstone to building on the nether roof, which have just stayed in the game because they know that they can't remove it from over there, but also they can't port it over to Bedrock, and it is a really interesting point for them to not address, given that they talk about all the positive time times in the past where a bug has come up, such as with minecarts. You used to be able to make minecarts go faster by having multiple minecarts next to each other, and so what they decided to do was make powered minecarts. They also point out that when you were using an elytra, or at least they show, that people would use a punch bow to knock themselves in the sky, and so they created elytra fireworks. I think that we should take more of these bugs, especially the Java ones, and actually introduce them as major features, but that's just my idea. And speaking of my idea, let's come back to KMB's question, because if 1.22 were compared to 1.21 in terms of when we think about the 4 drops versus this, how would it look? And I think the answer is really, really strange. We would never see an update which consists of 3 so different parts, and also I think this would be one of the weirdest, biggest quality of life updates ever, and that's one of the cool things they can actually do while doing drops. I think the summer drop really is one feature and then some quality of life, and again, I am very curious to see, and I want to know your thoughts in the comments down below, is that going to make a great update? Because ultimately, people love Minecraft already, they just want better Minecraft, or do people want even more of it? Speaking of wanting more Minecraft, Jack Twist is upset that now that we've seen most of the summer drop, there is still no fletching table update, and he'll tell his son one day to await its arrival. And don't worry, if you want to see all of the uses for the fletching table, I hear there is a big build you can go into to learn about all of that stuff. Speaking of going into other people's builds, let's talk about a change that's coming to Realms soon, because Bedrock Realm owners will soon have the option to require that players opt into the Realm timeline if they want to play on the Realm. This is something which is actually really cool. I didn't know that this wasn't a feature, but that's a great change to it. If you have a Realm on the Bedrock version of the game, you can require that people's playtime is effectively stored. That means that you can see who's playing how much, and it's really, really useful for multiplayer worlds. Personally, I just use it on my single player Realm. It's cool. You can go in and you can see how many days you've been playing. Also, you can see I discovered enchanting about a month ago, apparently. But you can see that because I played so much of my Realm on Monday, I haven't really played it in the days since. I've been busy. I just went and picked up the car, by the way. Exciting life update for anyone following that saga. I own a vehicle. It's a crazy thing. But yeah, as you can see, I haven't played much Realms, and that's hugely interesting. And while we're speaking about Realms, I should point out that yes, last week I took the word from the Realms project manager that there was in fact a change made so that you could actually use resource packs subpacks. If you're curious as what those are, if you go to say actions and stuff, you're meant to be able to tweak the way that it works, and there's meant to be free settings here, but if you have it on a Realm, it still just shows resolution, and so despite claiming to be fixed, officially this is not actually fixed. And maybe that's hugely interesting to you. Speaking of but so yeah, we have a weird thing where they claimed that this was fixed and it's not, specifically for actions and stuff, and then also we have the reverse where there was no claim to have fixed the issue with adding add-ons, but you can do so and it won't disable achievements on your realms anymore. Well, actually, maybe it will. Oh no, it's telling me about hardcore mode. I'm fine. Speaking of people who are fine, Judith Piper 4410 says, I absolutely love this concept for showing new features. That of course referring to my new tested series, where to show off new features from snapshots and betas, I actually play around with them in a new survival world, and even they say that Toycat, even retroactively doing this for new existing features would be great too. I haven't understood a new feature in Minecraft this well since the Never update, to be honest. I have a hard time keeping up with new features. I only have time to play maybe 5 hours a week, 10 max if I have time to play on my days off. This is kind of the problem with, even though a lot of people love Minecraft, it's a great comfort game, I actually do think that as a hardcore player, I have to concede that a lot of people don't stay up to date with all of the updates, or if you spend a few months out of it, loads of things have changed and you just resign yourself to never knowing it all again, and so wouldn't it be cool if there was a way to keep up to date with everything that's happened in the last few years? I did make a video like that from 2018 to 2023, all of the features in that time that I thought were significant, but I do think that it could be more fun to show off the features of, say, the last 5 years, but contextualize them to how they fit into your main survival, so it's easier to understand what a feature is without having to think abstractly. That might be some fun idea worth playing with, and yeah, that was the comment from Judith Piper. Thank you for the suggestion, but on that same video, I got this comment from Fonzie Gamers, who says, this feature is overhyped. Why would I need to craft saddles if I have double chests full of them, plus they're unstackable? And don't tell me this is good for people who don't explore. as you get them in the most basic structures, and even from fishing. I'm willing to bet if you have a need for a horse, you probably already have a saddle. And so Fonzie gamers, this is a perfect example of something that I've fallen prey to as well. Sometimes you think to yourself, this feature is pointless, I would never use it, but then you forget that you have been playing Minecraft for 6,000 days. I'm actually approaching 7,000 days at time of recording, but I've been playing Minecraft for almost 7,000 days plus my Xbox 360 and Xbox One time on the same world. Obviously, I don't need a saddle, I've killed enough Ravagers, but in the early game, no, you don't want to go fishing just so you can use a horse. The point of a horse is to be speedy, so if you spend more than 7 minutes getting a saddle for it, then you'll just be defeating the point. Now, if you want to get even a pig, but a pig, a horse, a strider, anything like that, it's so much easier in the early game, and that's why the tested series is important, and why I would recommend giving it a better look, honestly. And finally, I want to end this video with a comment about the end, because bro, Let's Talk Games says, we wait for an end update, and this is what we get. And I want to be very clear. It's obviously the end is getting an update, but it's getting an update in the very same way that, like, technically speaking, crafting is getting an update. This isn't a crafting update, although it does have a couple of new crafting recipes. Clearly, they're looking to add some at some point, but this isn't a crafting update. They've just updated crafting to make other things easier, and the same is true for the end. Can you imagine if they didn't update the end and they just left it blank? You would be way madder at that. I think that we need to more critically think about criticism like this, because your response here is telling Mojang, yeah, I guess if we're doing vibrant visuals and overhauling the graphics, I guess we shouldn't update the end graphics in case people think it's an end update but bad. But I think the reason they shouldn't update the end is because it's really jarring compared to the rest of the game, but they've taken a really bold swing, and I actually kind of admire that. And speaking of bold swings that I admire, I hope that you have all admired this video. If you have, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe, because your favorite translucent guy is only here sometimes. Yeah, I've this hoodie is like so, like, it's like olive green, I guess, if I had to, army green maybe. So it's really interesting that it keys into that background there, but I hope that you enjoyed this one, because I'll see you over there. Wait, no, over there. But like, in like, right now, look, the background's showing up. Anyway, music.